Derek, as the title of this video says, we need to talk about that PlayStation Plus price increase because, man, I'm a little taken aback. This is like something close to a 40% increase or something, and I'm a little bit shocked that Sony's going forward with this. Before we get into the nitty gritty, what's your immediate first takeaway when you saw what's going on here?
For those who are not in the know, Sony has decided to increase the price of their PlayStation Plus across the board, and it is some insane pricing. The basic essential went from $60 to $80. PS Plus Extra went from $100 to $135. This is all for a year, by the way. And then PS Plus Premium went from $120 to $160. Woo! Sony is so far up their own ass. It's impressive. Yeah. Like they're gonna need like a light because my God, this is ridiculous.
You're gonna need some high beams. You're gonna need such a good light because this is pretty egregious. And obviously we're no stranger to prices of services and games increasing with inflation. That's one thing. It happens. PlayStation Plus used to be $50 a year, went up to $60. Okay, but like this jump for what I feel is, at least for me, the perceived value what I'd be getting out of PlayStation Plus, it already wasn't there for $60 a year for me recently, and it's definitely not there at the basic tier for $80 a month or $80 a year, to say nothing of the higher tiers. And I don't know. So for me at least, I let my PS Plus subscription lapse like a year ago at least, because I realized that I didn't think the extra games I was getting with it were worth it anymore, and I only play Rocket League and Fall Guys online on PlayStation, and neither of those games requires PS Plus. And so I'm looking at this, and I'm like, where's the value here, at least for me personally? How are you feeling about it?
I'm pretty much in the same boat, because the funny thing that happened to me was I had it for a while, and then I got rid of it at some point. I don't even remember getting rid of it. That's the thing. It just lapsed, and I just didn't up it. At some point, I was just like, okay, I don't need this. But I thought I still had it because I just wasn't bothering to download the monthly games because they're so freaking big, and I don't have the room in it in the first place. So I just kind of forgot and didn't bother. And then it came time for Street Fighter 6. And that was the first time I attempted to play online for something in a long time. And all of a sudden I couldn't. I'm like, oh, I need PlayStation Plus for this. And then I paid for the year. And thank God I did then, because I'm good to go until basically next June. But still, I'm seeing this. There's no value for this. I get some of the games on occasion, and it'd be cool to play online, but I don't play a lot of online in the first place. Even with Street Fighter, I like to play it, but I'm like, okay, I'm kind of good at this point. There's no reason for me to get this whatsoever. It's ridiculous. I'm in shock, honestly.
Me too, because I mean, I will say that there is the occasional PS Plus exclusive discount that I'm like, oh yeah, kind of sucks I missed out on that, but that doesn't happen that often anymore. And then you get cloud storage, cool, but I don't feel like I need to pay for cloud storage through PlayStation. And then
I don't use it. I just shift around my games because I don't want to worry about the cloud storage of me not paying for PS Plus. That's guaranteed. Exactly. That's sort of a crutch. It's like, aha, we gotcha.
Yeah. And then, I've kind of felt, at least anecdotally, that the more recent PlayStation Plus extra games just really have kind of fallen off for me and haven't been worth it. And so I pulled up a list of all the PlayStation Plus extra games for 2023, and it turns out, at least for me, I was right. I mean, I'm seeing some cool indies here, like Axiom Verge 2, Ollie Ollie World, and some great Trek to Yomi. So some cool stuff, and like some more AA and AAA stuff, Alan Wake Remastered,
Dreams, if you care.
Dreams.
I mean, that's a little late at this point, but yes.
Sackboy: A Big Adventure. That's probably the standout for me. Excellent game. Star Wars Jedi: Fallen Order. So there is some cool stuff depending on what your interests are, but the rest of it, I just don't care. And of course, your mileage will vary based on your own personal tastes. I'm not saying it's objectively not worth it, but I don't know. For me, I think you and I both agree. The 2023 games, at least, have been pretty mid, with a few exceptions.
I mean, there's some good ones in here, but for a lot of them, like, by the time they're available on PlayStation Plus, they're either really cheap otherwise. Like, you can probably find, like, Code Vein for $10 somewhere, easily.
Exactly.
If you really want to. Same with probably Jedi Fallen Order, probably like 20 to 30 if you really want to. Same for Sackboy. I did pick up Alan Wake Remastered because I'm going to be doing a stream for that relatively soon. I'm like, okay, this is coming up. I already have it. It makes sense to just get this now and play it this way rather than me buy it another way. That is the one exception to this that I did, and it's just never been an appeal to me, and it's just sort of fallen by the wayside at this point because, as you said, there's no value. And the kicker to me is, it's like, remember when Sony looked like they were going to be trying to compete with Nintendo and Xbox by having this huge lineup of classic games? Because, hey, Sony has a pretty good backlog of games. They have a pretty good legacy. And then they completely botched it.
Yes, and that's I was actually thinking about that too, because like, dude, you would find no bigger champion for me of PlayStation Plus when they first announced that they were bringing like PS1 and PS2 and PSP games, all these classic PlayStation games to the PlayStation Store for higher tiers. I'm like, man, you know what? I'm ready to pay for this because I've wanted that for so long. I want older PlayStation games. And then they announced the price, and I'm like, you know what? I'll wait and see. And then we saw the rollout. And it's been abysmal.
People complain about Nintendo's glacial pace at releasing games for the NSO. I swear Sony's worse because I never hear about new games coming to that service.
No, me neither. And especially, I mean, you don't even get those until you get to Deluxe, and that is now going to be $135. And I am just... oh, no, I'm sorry. That's just the PS4 and PS5 game catalog. Premium. You have to pay premium for the PS1, 2, and 3 stuff. That's $160 now. And like, okay, there's some cool stuff. Tekken 2, Ridge Racer 4. But I can now buy Ridge Racer 4 separately and not have to pay this. I can buy it for like $10. Same with Tekken 2. Especially if you're there for the classic games. Why would you even consider paying for this? Then you got the time-limited game trials. I can see that being cool, but it's just, I don't need it. I'm not really into it.
You don't hear about it too much. Like, the biggest thing I've heard for Sony's whole PS Plus, I think it's just extra, is the, Sea of Stars is available for it at the same time as Game Pass, and like, that's a pretty good get. But that's like the only thing I've heard in a while. Yeah,
same. I completely agree. And, they do, as you said, they do get some cool stuff, some cool day one stuff, like we got Sea of Stars, but like, and there are other games like that, but I just don't, I think the frequency with which that happens, it was on the line for me before with the prices the way they were, but now the line is just been so crossed over, and I'm like, the infrequency with which that happens is not worth $80, to say nothing of the higher tiers.
And I have to wonder if other developers might be like questioning Sony a bit here, because online is a pretty vital component of your Street Fighter, your Mortal Kombat, your Tekken that's coming out, any of your other shooters that require this sort of PS Plus service in order to play online with other people. If they start seeing those numbers drop because nobody wants to pay this price, this feels like another, I would hope at least, another setup for a Sony backtrack where they're like, oh, shoot, we screwed up. Because there's no value here. That's the thing. They're not adding anything. It's just, we're going to make you pay more.
Right. Yeah, you're so right. And the value just isn't there when you compare it to Xbox Game Pass or just Game Pass in general. And ironically, NSO plus expansion pass. I remember when people were upset at $50 a year for NSO expansion pass. I was kind of upset about that. Mm-hmm. But then I'm looking at there's a drip feed of games, I guess, but the rollout has been pretty consistent across all 5 or 6 or whatever consoles are available on NSO now. The libraries for each are pretty strong, and then you're also getting stuff like the Booster Course Pass for Mario Kart 8 and online play, for Smash and Mario Kart. So of course it comes down to your personal tastes. But
then there's also the extra bonus of the family plan.
Oh, the family plan, yeah.
Which, hey, the two of us are on. Yeah, we exactly. Shared that and found 6 other people to share it with, and guess what? We're paying way less.
And the
Xbox
value is just
and Sony
massive.
Does not have that.
Right. And the value is just massive in comparison. And, I did the math. The PlayStation Plus basic tier at its new price comes out to around $7, $6 to $7 a month. But, and that's, of course, yeah, that's cheaper than Game Pass per month, depending on what tier you're at. Well, actually, no, of any tier of Game Pass, but still. Console Game Pass, I'm looking at it right now, I could join and get it for $11 a month. And yeah, that's a little bit more than PlayStation Plus, but look at the amount of games you get access to compared to
Starfield at launch, you get Sea of Stars at launch, you get all these other classic ones to play that are just there. And yeah, it rotates, but still, on the whole, there's a pretty good lineup. And if you only want to pay for Game Pass and only want to play Game Pass games, you're in pretty good shape. I can't say the same for Sony's service.
No.
At all.
And if you play a lot on PC, you get Ultimate Game Pass for $17 a month. And just the breadth of games you get access to just slaughters what's available on PlayStation subscription services. And I don't know what they're thinking. And this came part and parcel with their announcement recently that they're no longer reporting PlayStation Plus subscription numbers. And you know what? I get why now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
It's a funny thing because we're in another case of Sony being so up its own ass. Thinking they're infallible. They say, we're doing so well, people will do whatever we want them to. And just they'll pay that price because that's what we're here for them. We're the premier experience for them. And yes, Xbox is kind of crap into bed. They're trying to help, they're trying to come back, but it's honestly not that impressive of a comeback. And even Xbox will admit when that they're struggling a bit with that aspect. If Nintendo was on the level of the PS5, they'd be in trouble. Let's be honest.
That is so true. And just imagine if Nintendo had better online infrastructure and functionality for the price they charge, then it would be a no-brainer which one carries the most value. If you're into Nintendo games, of course. If you're not, then that's different.
Right. But let's say next year we do get the successor. And, I mean, granted, Street Fighter 6 is best on PS5, but it is available on PS4. So, theoretically, no matter what, the Switch successor should be able to run Street Fighter 6.
Right.
And you get it there. Guess what? You're paying less for online to play it. You might not be getting the premium experience, but you're getting it portably and at a cheaper price for online. Theoretically, Nintendo could capitalize on this if Sony sticks with it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I don't know what they're thinking. Like you said earlier, I hope this leads to a walk back. I just don't see how it makes sense. And I feel bad for people who only have a PlayStation and want to play stuff like Street Fighter or whatever, Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever online, because if all you have is a PlayStation, you suddenly have to pay $80 a year at minimum just to play your favorite games online.
What? Did we know what determines which games require the PS Plus? Because you mentioned Rocket League, you mentioned Fall Guys. I know Final Fantasy XIV doesn't require a PS Plus subscription. Is it just if it's a free-to-play thing online that it gets a pass like that, like Fortnite, or is there some other deal going on? Because I wonder if other studios might just like say, hey, you don't need PS Plus in order to do this online. We'll have our own infrastructure or something like that. I honestly don't know, but I'm curious.
So, don't quote me on this. I could be wrong, but for some reason I feel like my understanding is that if a game doesn't use Sony's own infrastructure for online play, then you can dodge the PlayStation Plus subscription fee. Like, I don't think Rocket League and Fall Guys, I don't think they utilize PlayStation's own servers. I could be wrong, and in the comments, someone will definitely tell me if I'm wrong.
And I'd appreciate that, honestly. Yeah,
please do.
I want to know.
Yeah, please tell me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding of the situation, but I can't say that with complete certainty. All I know is I've gotten really lucky that I love those two games and I can play them for free online.
Same with Final Fantasy XIV, thank God.
FF14, yeah, and I think Square uses their own servers for that, and I'm almost certain they do.
I mean, yeah, it's cross-platform because...
exactly, so that's what leads me to think that might be the difference here. And I feel like Fortnite also does. So, yeah, comments will tell me if I'm wrong, but that's what I believe the understanding is.
I mean, I get it, but I mean, I feel like Capcom already uses its own servers for PC, so
yeah,
maybe not a bad idea to transfer that over to that if it becomes dire enough. I don't know.
That's for sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've certainly seen the discourse around this being very negative, and I'm not surprised. I mean, clearly that's our take. And, only the two of us were available on short notice to record this discussion, but I have a feeling that the rest of the team would be agreeing with us.
There's no way anybody else is like, this is okay.
Yeah. So I think we pretty much delivered our thoughts. I don't want to. It kind of reminds me of the Simpsons meme. He's already dead. Stop. He's dead. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. So I think we can probably wrap it up there, unless you have anything else you want to get out there.
Not really. I looking through and granted, the article we have up here going over the prices, they do mention that Microsoft did up the price of Game Pass from $15 a month to $17 a month, and there's no annual discount, which Sony does offer. If there was no annual discount, you'd be paying an extra $56 a month if you're
Fair.
going monthly on that. So it technically is cheaper, but I don't know. It's the value proposition. I think that's where Sony's really struggling, and $20 for that year price without like a family plan option or something like that is, I'm sorry, too rough. I can't do it. It's just, it feels inordinately, short-sighted.
Yeah, and still, even if you do get that discount, your price increase does take effect next November 6th, I believe, based on what I'm reading. So it's only a discount for so long, I believe. I could be wrong about that. It might be that you do save a little no matter when you buy a 12-month subscription over a 1 month or 3 month. But be that as it may, as you're saying, yeah, okay, it's more expensive than Game Pass, but not that much more expensive compared to the vast amount of games you get over PlayStation. So, I mean, yeah, it's more expensive, but the value proposition, you just get so much more with Game Pass, particularly if you're playing on PC as well. So Absolutely. It's just, and then if you're a Nintendo fan, it's a no-brainer for NSO. So, yeah, this is wild. I don't know what they're thinking. PlayStation has been making a few decisions lately that are kind of just mystifying to me, and still a PlayStation fan, but I will not be re-upping my PS Plus subscription ever, probably. I don't think I ever will.
No, not unless something major changes.
The only way I would even consider it is if they overhaul their classic game rollout and they suddenly are having a great library of PS1 and 2 and PSP classic games. And I mean a robust library. It has to be so much better than it is right now for me not to want to just say, oh, hey, Ridge Racer Type 4, okay, I'll pay $10 for that and I own it. Then there you go. That's all and I can just buy that one time for $10 and then I'm good. And I don't have to subscribe to play that.
Yep, agreed.
So, yeah, well, I think that just about does it for us here. Thank you all so much for watching. Please again, let us please let us know what you think in the comments below. We always appreciate your thoughts. And also, if you like what we do here, please consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/GVGaming. But otherwise, we're going to head out, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.